Hi, babe.
Hey,
Yep.
now we're putting back the motor together. This is a crate motor about 10 years ago, and their build was horrible. Connecting rods, they only go on one way. So the orientation of the connecting rods is really important. If you look in here, you see that big giant, I'm beginning this side. See the big bevel and the gap on the metal here? And it's tighter on this side, right? When you got them in on the journals of the crank, this connecting rod needs to set up next to the other connecting rod right here. Here's two of them. They should look like that, with a very small gap in between. Okay? That's how they're going to look. Not like this. That's wrong. And that's how they were in the damn truck. They were like that. And that's probably what created really low oil pressure. Well, it will. Just creates, the oil will escape really easy out of there. It's not really in here. And then that destroyed my crank. I only had maybe 18,000 miles on that motor. And this crankshaft was done all because of this. And a couple other issues. So the journals on these cranks are gone. They're complete. My nail catches on every one of them. Some of them are worse than others. Even the mains. But the rod connecting journals are just shot. The bearings were spun. They were spun in here. That's bad. Don't do that. Once again, and then these tangs, it'll sit in here like this. This tang, these tangs face the inside of the motor. So this, if it was in the motor like that, they'd be facing in the motor. And these would be next to each other with a smaller gap. Use better oil pressure. It'll run like this, but not for long. So that was #1 issue. These are done. I'm not even going to use these. We're buying new ones because the bearings on a lot of them actually spun. Ate the metal away and they were done. So I put those out of round. The other issue is that the original push rods, these things, these guys right here, the original ones I took out, they were actually different sizes. Not by much, but like that, like that. They were actually quite a bit. Different size push rods. No. What that does is changes the lift. Completely changes the lift. So so say you have a 530 lift, you want a 530, one's shooting 530, but then the other push rod's shorter, that one's doing like a 500. So, yeah, not good. That was another issue we had with this fucking build, this crate motor I bought. But that main bearing caps and all that being installed incorrectly, the result of that, low oil pressure, caused that. Not getting no oil pressure up to, it was losing all the oil pressure down low. These are all supposed to be the same size, and they are not. Yeah, it looks like a musical chart. They're all supposed to be the same size. So low oil pressure, and it ate all these. Ate them completely. So, we got it all back together. I did try using that old crank. I did put it in. I didn't want to spend the money. Now, if you're going to use a crank like that, you need to take it to a shop and have them turn the crank and make it look all shiny. I can show you here. You see that crank? That's a new one. See those journals? How shiny those journals are? and smooth. You take it to the shop, they'll make it look like that, but then they got to get the corresponding bearings to fit it. What I try to do, because it was a stock crank that was just chewed the hell up, I put new bearings in it, new stock bearings. And that was a bad idea. So when I put it together, and it was like this, it actually spun, but it had some drag to it. I'm like, I don't want this money. This needs to last one season. We put oil in it and tried to spin it, and it seized. It would not turn. I had a big breaker bar. And this fucking thing would not turn. And once the oil got in it, tried to get in between those clearances, there was no clearance. It seized it up. So we ended up buying a new crank, an Eagle crank, matching bearings, and now look at this. It should go that easy when you're assembling, just like with one finger. No problem. Now it'll get tighter once you put the valve train in. And you got all the pressure of the springs on it, and you got the pistons in it, but you'll still turn relatively easy. You know, with a wrench, you'll turn it. You'll have some, if you put the spark plugs in, it's going to have resistance, and you'll be whoop, 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 and you'll have a lot more resistance. But yeah, so those were the issues we came across. Now, oh, all that metal in there, how I flushed the metal out, so we don't have a hot tank and all that. Put the pump on there, got some clean oil, put it on the pump, spun it with a drill, taped off. As they start coming out of the journals, I put tape around them to force the oil, put the lifters back in, because there's a channel in there, and just until it forced all the oil through all the, I don't know what they call it, the ports, the oiling ports, all the way to one end, and it did come out dirty, but then it came out clean. Just use oil, spun it, start coming out of the crankshaft. You can look in here and see them. The oiling ports down in there, those holes, they'll start coming out of those holes. On each one has them, but you go by the end, you can see them all, they all have them. And you just do it until it goes all the way around. And then it'll push all the oil through here too, all the way through the top. And it'll actually start pushing oil out of the lifters. Everything's flushed out. To get all that metal that was ground off from the bearings and the lifters out of here. But now we're good. Now we're really good. Yep. Oh, look at that. She spins. Ooh. Ooh. That's all you do. Reset the rings. Hone this out. Set all the rings. And when you set the rings, you do individual pistons. One piston right here. We did it. You do the piston. Mark the piston. Set the ring gap, or check them. And if you got to file them or any of that, mark the piston. That goes in that hole because they are slightly different by like a thousandth or whatever. Mine is running 22 to 26. The bottom ring is 26. That one could be between, if you look at the book, 10 to 20. But this is like a race application, naturally aspirated. We wanted between 25 and 30. We set them at 26. They're all at 26. And the bottom ones are all at 23. So the top ring gap's a little bit tighter. A stock one would be between 10 and 20. You could be in that range. On a stock, we're not going to go high RPMs, but we're going higher RPMs, more airflow, bigger, a lot bigger build. So you make the gap a little bit bigger. And if you're going to go like a blower or nitrous, you want that gap, the bottom one to be around 25 to 28, or the top one 25 to 28, and the top one 28 to 30, 35. You want a bigger gap for all that inducted air pressure that's being pushed into it. But we're not doing that, so we're going in the middle, 26, higher, it'll handle higher RPMs. Be good to go. All we're waiting for are the damn rods, because I ain't gonna use those rods. They'll probably spun, they need to be sent to them. You can fix them, send them to a machine shop, they put a machine and they make them true. But you gotta get the according, that's a one-off bearing. You do shit like that, it's a one-off bearing. Because it spun and it ate the metal in there. If you just do a regular build, you don't have to worry about that. If you gotta mill the crank, you mill the crank, get a 10 over or 10 under, 20 under, and get the bearing to go with it. 10 under, 20 under, they sell them all day long. On the rods, that's way different. If you mill those damn rods. But yeah, that's where we're at. Thing spins good. Tomorrow's another day. Once the rods get in, we'll assemble the rods. I showed you earlier with the heat. I'm going to redo it, put new ones, because I'm not going to try it. I'm going this far with the build. Yeah, I'm not even going to. I need to send those to the shop and have them actually measured and checked. So I'd rather just buy new. They'll be good. Throw them in and not have to worry about it. That's where we're at. Woo! Bye!
Hey, babe.
Hey, what are we doing?
Well, we got the motor back in. Again. So, motor mounted in. We got it hooked up to the tranny. So now, I'm going to rotate it and see if it rotates. We have rotated it repeatedly. Down there, put all fresh oil in it, a little bit lighter weight of an oil, and it's spinning spins. So if I can spin it, we're good to go. So let's find out what happens here.
Let me get up here. Oh.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Oh. And she spins.
Spins pretty nice, huh?
Yep.
Tranny's on it, so.
Yeah, hooked up to the tranny.
So, what do you think the problem was? Why did it seize? And when it seized, it only turned over twice and seized. It didn't ever start. It just said, womp, womp, eh.
Yep.
And then we put the bar on it, and we were going to break that fucking nut, because it would not turn.
Yeah.
Either way, back or forth. So, what do you think that was?
Well, from everything that's in here, the only thing that we didn't change out was the crankshaft. But I really don't.
So you mean the crankshaft that I put a video on saying if you got a crankshaft that looks like this, don't use it?
Yeah.
And I used it.
We got to quit questioning ourselves.
I'm like, oh, it'll make a trip. It'll last a year. No, fuck, no, it didn't.
Always learn. When in doubt, throw it out. Get yourself a new one.
The problem was...
It was the oil. So I think it was the oil. Because after
the
investigation...
we put 2050 oil in it.
I think it was just too thick. And it being
the bearings.
Yeah.
On the rods, the rod bearings that were in it were spun. That means the rods were probably hammered and needed to be machined. I didn't do that either. So I put new bearings in the rods and I didn't check the clearance of the bearings. And when we were assembling it, it rotated. It rotated. Because we had set the valves and everything, the push rods. But as soon as we put that 2050 oil in it, it was way too thick for it. And it seized the motor. Would not let it spin. When we pulled it out, and I tried to turn it on the engine stand, it still wouldn't turn. Until I drained the oil, got all the oil out of it, and then it turned.
Yep.
I was like, fuck.
So basically it was a mixture of different things. It was, the crankshaft, the oil, the bearings. When you do a rebuild like this, honestly, it changed everything.
Yeah,
don't take a chance, because we were lucky that it happened here and not while we were out.
Like it actually started?
Yeah, it actually started. Oh yeah, we're good to go, and then we're running it. We do run, and it could have tanked the motor.
It would have tanked the motor. It would have overheated it.
Yeah, so we got lucky on that part.
If the bearing tolerances were so tight that it actually seized it with the oil. But if they were just tight enough, but the oil let it spin, it would have overheated and spun those bearings.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking instantly.
Yeah, and it would have been all bad.
Yeah. But yeah, that cost a lot. New crank in it, everything. New bearings, new connecting rods. It's a whole new motor.
Yep.
So we're crossing our fingers that this fucker will start. Higher compression, like a 9.8 to 1 compression, just under 10 to 1. This thing should fucking get her. We're shooting at the crank, 450, 500 horse by the build.
Yeah.
With that intake, distributor, carburetor, exhaust, cam, pistons, this whole build. That build should get you, net you 500. And that'll get us to the wheels, 300. Well, that's going to be a huge difference in this truck. This truck had, at the crank, a 225 horsepower motor that was burnt out. So getting to the ground, they got like 180 to the ground. Well, we'll see. What you staring at? Don't be staring at stuff.
I want to get it to 0.
Get it to 0. That'd be top to the center.
That's what we're trying to do.
All right.
I'm trying. We'll see.
Let's finish this. What was that, dear?
It hurt me.
Are you struggling down there?
Oh.
What are you doing?
Well,
What's going on over there?
I need a short version of this.
Oh, we don't have a short version. That one's a eat. Millimeter turns at a time. Oh yeah, these headers are not easy to get in here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. You see, her little handy. And she's way down there. Are you sitting in a weird position, dear?
Yes, I am.
How's your back feel?
My shoulder hurts. I'm leaning on my shoulder.
Where's it at? I can't even get it. Where is it? It's in there. There it is. Right up in there.
Turning it.
I need to save the day. Do I need to save the day?
You know what? You need to cut this fucking end off. You need to find a 7/16 and cut that shit in half.
All right, I will right now. Hold on. Don't beat me. Hey, third time's a charm. Maybe not. All right, what are we going to do?
We're going to see if she turns over.
Is it turned on? No, the battery. Kill switch over there.
You want it on all?
1.
Okay, there's 1.
Okay, will she kick over? Cross your fingers. Get it. You know. Put it on 2? Or all? Put it on all.
Ready?
Yep. Oh yeah!
Yeah, she turns over.
We gotta charge those batteries.
Yeah, well that's understandable. Even sitting out there.
And it's higher compression motor, so we might have to charge the battery to see if she starts with 1 battery. We might have to run all.
To get it started.
Oh, it shouldn't.
We'll see.
Let's see, we get these batteries charged. Next week, starter.
Yep.
We just gotta do all the wiring, some other things buttoned up, and then we can actually start her. But crank her over 1 more time. Oh yeah, she sounds good. She's gonna do it. All right, kill her. Yeah. Oh, that was a lot of freaking work. All right. We're done for the week. We'll start her up next week.